For the most part, everything in 2025 has been working out pretty well. And I don't necessarily mean from a price standpoint, because obviously, price for ADA, price for the crypto market in general has in fact been dropping, right? But there are certain other things that needed to take place to get us to this point where we can see a major pivot in the market and we can start to see surges to the upside. We are on the verge of some major BTC liquidations, which can be very good for the price of ADA, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But there is a major curveball that we need to address as well that we have not talked about yet. So again, make sure you guys show your support for the channel, hit that subscribe button if you guys are new or haven't already. But let's talk about this, because ADA right now is again really targeting breaching this 20-day moving average. Right now it's about 6:50 a.m. Central Standard Time. It's before the PPI report, and I'd love to see some green as the day goes on. In terms of BTC, we're still broken out. We're in kind of a great spot for a pump in the market, as long as the data is conducive for this. And frankly, what we're sitting at right now is the potential of major liquidations to the upside. There's a huge concentration of short liquidation levels in terms of BTC. This starts at about 83.5 and it actually runs above 87K. And if BTC does make an aggressive move like that, which would actually put it, oh gosh, almost all the way to its 100-day moving average, that wouldn't surprise me by more significant moves, obviously in alts. Something like ADA, we'd be talking a breach of that 20-day moving average. I mean, we'd be on the verge of actually almost attacking our 200-day. 70 cents is probably more around the range that ADA could see at that time. Obviously this isn't to guarantee your financial advice or anything like that, but there's a lot of things that are working in our favor. And it's again a question of, do we see enough excitement and strength to, one, cause liquidations, two, to cause some of this capital that's on the sidelines to start to flow back into the space? And what's interesting is that the market is getting more conducive for these pumps. And one of the reasons why is the DXY has just been cratering. In fact, what we just did over the last 24 hours is we have hit the lowest price in terms of lowest US dollar strength on the DXY that we've seen since April of 2022. That's a pretty big deal. We've been talking about this inverse correlation in the DXY and the crypto market for quite some time. Now, 2025 has been a little bit different, and a lot of this has had to do with, the black swan events, the tariff concerns. All markets have been bleeding while US dollar strength has in fact been dropping. So it's kind of been a big ball of crap, but this is necessary for us to start making moves to the upside, because what happens is when the US dollar is losing strength, people tend to move their capital towards more speculative markets, the stock market, the crypto market. And there have been times where this has caused some pumps. We've gotten a little pumpy here and there, right? What has also been working in our favor too is that US bond yields, 10-year bond yields, have in fact been dropping until lately. All right. We have been seeing this obviously drop in a huge way to the downside. Same thing when there's huge drop-offs in the DXY, you tend to see, the DXY and 10-year bond yields, you tend to see people take their money out of bonds and they move it towards more speculative assets. But here's where the curveball lies. When we look at this last week, this is a pretty significant spike from basically 3.9% or so all the way up to almost 4.5% yield. And why this has been taking place is China has actually been dumping 10-year bonds amongst other bonds as well. And what happens is when they're dumping such a significant portion of bonds, what it's going to do is it's actually going to increase yield. So this is the exact opposite of what we want to see. And this is causing probably a little bit of the uncertainty in the markets. It's why we're not seeing that big surge back into crypto. It's why we're not seeing that big surge back into the stock market. It's because yields are still remaining high. Hopefully that makes sense for people. Now, it's a question of, when does it start to make these moves back down? China's trying to play a game. The US is trying to play a game. And basically they both need to just cut it the hell out, strike a deal, figure out something that's mutually beneficial so our banks can pump. And maybe that's just me oversimplifying what's going on, but I think we're all feeling that same kind of sentiment right now. Just get it done so we can start to see things head back in the right direction. Inflation is falling. We're seeing us accelerate towards, emergency rate, well, not emergency rate cuts, but rate cuts in general. We're accelerating towards quantitative easing, and potentially that may come obviously later this year. We need to see QT pause first of all. But what we really need to see here again is this DXY, I keep saying DXY, 10-year bond yields start to drop back down. Now, that being said, we are still kind of playing into a little bit of a an head and shoulders here. Now, obviously, the neckline was breached on that big drop we saw about a week and a half ago or so. Oh, no, it's actually about a week ago. Anyways, this is what we need to see happen. We need to see DXY continue to drop. We need to see 10-year bond yields continue to drop. And this is where you can start to see things open up in the stock market, in the crypto market. That is where we can start to see, again, more confidence. That's where we can start to see capital flow back in. It all works together. All right. And eventually we'll get to that point. But understand that in the meantime, because we're seeing these kind of conflicting things taking place, there will be chop in the crypto market. Maybe there's enough confidence that enters that the market just sends, and maybe people start to shift towards more speculative assets anyways. But that's just kind of the weird curveball we're dealing with currently. Understand that, if people keep being negative and if people keep trying to push the market down, awesome. Keep trying to do it. I love seeing shorts liquidated. I love us seeing prices move to the upside, and maybe we'll get a little bit of more relief here sometime in the near term. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. I appreciate you as always. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below. When do you think this will end? Are the US and China going to strike a deal? And how is this going to impact the price of ADA and other assets? So have a great day. Show your love below. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.